Start you off with some satellite imagery of the northern United States and what we presented to you over a week ago in reference to these large low pressure systems spinning over here towards the northern hemi cap and bringing down cold Arctic air. Along with these low pressure systems, they're also bringing along with them fronts, and we're seeing fronts a little bit sooner than what we normally would, again indicating that we're in a fall type pattern, and some of these fronts have gotten down into the southeast. Now, rule of thumb during hurricane season is always watch the tail ends of fronts or along the fronts for an area of low pressure to try and spin up. Behind these cold fronts has been some pretty cool air each and every time. Over 2 weeks ago, over 1,000 record cold temperatures were broken across the United States as cold air was being drawn down out of the Arctic as one of these lows was passing by. This image out of weatherstreet.com showing you the 72-hour overnight forecast with a wide swath of temperatures dipping down into the lower 40s across Canada, in here towards the Great Lakes region, and some 50s down in here towards the southeast. Following Dr. Ryan Maui, weatherbell.com, showing the potential for up to 10 inches of rain in Tallahassee, Florida over Saturday and Sunday of the upcoming weekend. Again, courtesy Dr. Ryan Maui, weatherbell.com, and showing over the 120-hour period ending in Sunday, possibly up to 8 to 10 inches of rain over the Big Bend area and up in here towards northeast Georgia. So what we're going to have is we're going to have some deep tropical moisture working its way into the Gulf of Mexico as the front tries to slide off towards the east-northeast. It's going to try and pick up some of that moisture on the east side of anything that develops in here off the Gulf of Mexico and carry it off towards the east coast. We are also going to be watching for an area of low pressure that may try to develop over the next 24 hours along the front and dive down here towards the panhandle. The Canadian model has been suggesting for the last week that any development in the Gulf of Mexico that an OBX low was going to set up. We already know that we've got high pressure building in as the low over the Great Lakes region exits, and we're going to get a tighter northeast gradient. So that part of the forecast verification for the East Coast Surfing Championship is coming in now and starting to verify. Want to show you why we have the potential for a heavy rain event, and that is we've already showed you the cooler temperatures back behind the front, and anytime you mix hot, humid air with cold air, we like to call it's the clash of the titans. And a lot of things can break out, folks. The last thing Georgia needs is more heavy rainfalls, as the majority of farmers are claiming 100% crop loss due to heavy rains already. We already know that in South Florida, the Okeechobee is overflowing, and they have huge problems there with a huge algae bloom. And in the St. Johns River, I was on the river yesterday, and you can see the algae bloom is starting in the river too. That's a big influx of a lot of fresh water into the southeast over the last couple of weeks. The last thing we need is more rain. The big news of the day, however, is a tropical wave that has now moved off the western coast of Africa, and what it could mean to this year's 2013 East Coast Surfing Championship in Virginia Beach. This image you're looking at is the 12Z run of the Canadian model, the CMC. And if you saw our post earlier today on the East Coast Surfing Championship update, you'll notice in that image, the Canadian model actually had what is now 93L Invest off the West African coast, just east of the islands in here. This afternoon's 12Z run has now moved it up towards the northwest and has it to the southeast of Bermuda by about 1,000 miles. Now, this is on the 21st of August. We know that the contest runs from the 19th through the 25th, and based on this position, it's possible that we could see some solid groundswell fill in for the finals of this year's 2013 East Coast Surfing Championship, brought to you by Vans and Coastal's Edge. Obviously, this is way, way, way out in the forecast, and the forecast is subject to change, but we just wanted to give you some ideas of how we were thinking of how the Atlantic is setting up and what we can expect over the next couple of days. So stay tuned for the forecast, guys. Tune back in tomorrow. We're going to be doing some more updates on what's happening over in the Gulf. Stay tuned.